The school beauty's ectopic pregnancy and heavy bleeding made me take the blame. The school beauty fell in love with a poor student and became pregnant. But she shifted the blame, saying she was carrying my child. She went to the hospital for an abortion because the ectopic pregnancy caused massive bleeding. The uterus had to be removed. Her father flew into a rage, came to the school to find me, dragged me onto the rooftop, and pushed me off. When I opened my eyes again, I found I had returned to my senior year of high school. The year the school beauty, Sophia Taylor, and the poor student, Liam Davis, fell in love. Ethan, Liam said he'd be with me if I got in the top 50 in a grade. Can you tutor me a bit? The school beauty, full of youthful charm, Sophia Taylor, tilted her head back to look at me, her face bright. I was dazed. The intense sense of weightlessness and fear still left me shaken. I was gasping for breath. Sophia only thought I was jealous because she had mentioned Liam. A flash of triumph crossed her eyes. She covered her mouth and laughed softly. I almost forgot. Your grades are just as they are now. Your ranking isn't even higher than mine, so you probably can't help me. Why don't you hire a tutor for me instead? My whole back was covered in cold sweat. It took me a long time to react. It seemed I had been reborn, returned to the day Sophia confessed to Liam. My hands trembled slightly as I forced the anger down. I composed myself and sneered. Liam is only around the top 100 in the grade. Why does he have to ask you to be in the top 50? Sophia paused, probably not expecting me to speak to her with this tone and attitude. After all, I had practically idolized her throughout high school and always obliged her. She had a smile in her eyes, the corner of her mouth lifting slightly. Then she stepped closer and leaned toward my ear, whispering, "Are you jealous?" The breeze blew her hair across my face, tickling. A faint, delicate fragrance involuntarily drifted into my nose. If it had been before, I would have blushed, my heart racing and my breath quickening, then uncontrollably agreed to every request she made. But now, her affected, coquettish teasing only made me feel utterly disgusted. I took a step back and looked at her coldly. Cut it out. I'm not falling for that. Don't come hovering around me for no reason anymore. She suddenly widened her eyes and looked at me in disbelief. Ethan, what do you mean? I looked at her coldly and said, Seriously, what do you mean? I want you to stay away from me. Her delicate face went dark in an instant just because I confessed to Liam. You treat me like this? I scoffed, said nothing to her question, and turned to leave. Sophia stamped her foot in anger behind me, her voice tinged with grievance and fury. Ethan, don't regret this. Don't worry. I never will. Regret? I snorted coldly. In my last life, because of one sentence from her, I was accused of crime I never committed and even lost my life. How could I possibly make the same mistake this time? On the way home from school, passing a small alley, I suddenly heard school beauty Sophia shouting my name. I turned and saw Sophia and Liam surrounded by a group of thugs in a corner. They had cigarettes in their mouths and hostile looks in their eyes. When they heard Sophia call me, they gave me a warning look that said, "Don't stick your nose in." I know Jake Wilson, the ringleader. He once pursued Sophia for a while. Sophia loved to have fun and was pretty, frequenting internet cafes, pool halls, bars, and KTV. So, it didn't surprise me that local thugs had taken an interest in her. Jake once harassed Sophia and got slapped by her. At this moment, although panic and fear showed in Sophia's eyes, she still clung tightly to Liam behind her. In the previous life, when the two of them were surrounded by Jake and a group of thugs, I, in a moment of heat, rushed in to break it up and ended up being beaten by the thugs for over half an hour. I lay on the ground covered in blood, while Sophia had long grabbed Liam and run off in the confusion, showing no concern for whether I lived or died. I lay in the hospital for a week before I recovered. While she and Liam were constantly together, sweet and affectionate, their relationship quickly heated up. Later, when I went back to school and confronted her, she sneered that I had a good physical constitution and strong recovery ability. So wasn't I fine now? So, this time, I only glanced over with not the slightest intention of helping. I bought a pack of sunflower seeds from the corner grocery store, snacking on them while watching the show with great interest. Sophia looked at me with eyes full of malice, but I didn't care at all, and I certainly wasn't foolish enough to rush over and save her. Soon, Sophia and Liam's howls and wails came from across the way, quickly turning into desperate pleading. The other side was in full swing, and I watched with keen enjoyment. I had only eaten half a pack of seeds when some careless idiot called the police. When the sirens came, Jake and a bunch of hoodlums quickly fled the scene. Sophia still clung tightly to Liam, crouched in the corner. Their clothes were in ruins, torn in many places, looking pitiful. The officers are going to take the two of them to the station for statements, but Sophia pointed at me and said I was in cahoots with those thugs. Just like that, I was taken away too. But her accusation couldn't withstand scrutiny for a moment. The officers who stayed at the scene had already questioned the onlookers. I was just scared by a group of thugs and didn't dare step forward to help. I was merely an ordinary high school student, and they quickly expressed understanding. Sophia's eyes were full of fury. She couldn't and wouldn't dare vent this anger on Jake and the others. So, she shifted it onto me, the bystander. Without warning, she rushed at me to slap me, but I blocked it with my arm. She struck hard. A burning pain shot through my arm, and the sharp sound of the block stunned everyone there. "Ethan, why are you standing there gloating?" She grabbed me, shouting at the officers. "He watched someone die instead of helping. That's a crime. You should arrest him." A flash of ferocity crossed my eyes as I shoved her hard. She landed on her, but on the ground. "You run wild outside all the time and get into trouble. Why should I bail you out?" "Sophia, your Taylor family has some clout in New York. Tell your dad about your mess." "Are you scared of one, Jake?" Hearing me say that, Sophia's gaze darted away. I wasn't surprised. If she told Mr. Taylor, he wouldn't just find out about her constant partying. He would probably learn about Liam, too. The Taylors have some money, and, as the campus beauty, she has good looks. So, how could they agree to her hanging around a poor student all the time? She got up, dark-faced, and tried to slap me again, but I grabbed her. I raised my hand and landed a solid slap across her face. Doesn't she like slapping people? I let her taste it herself. She started it, and even in front of the officer, I wasn't going to coddle her. She tried to rush over crazily, but was forcibly held back by the officers. "Ethan, you dead simp. You actually dare to lay a hand on me? I really gave you too much face." I smiled and said, "Sorry about that." My hand slipped. Sophia was about to explode with anger. The look in her eyes seemed ready to leap on me and take a bite. In the end, the officers gave us each a stern reprimand. After we all calmed down, they finally made us shake hands and make up. I left the police station first, and Sophia quickly caught up with me from behind. "Ethan, how can you treat me like this? You still have time to apologize to me now, or don't expect me to ever forgive you." Before, she always showed that haughty attitude in front of me. Getting her to apologize felt like a favor. Whether it was my fault or not, I would have unhesitatingly, humbly try to please her. But now I won't. I stopped, turned around, and looked at her coldly. Sophia still had a red, swollen slap mark on her face, anger and grievance in her eyes. "Apologize?" I scoffed. "Sophia, have you not figured out the situation yet? Who do you think you are? Does the whole world have to revolve around you?" She stood frozen, her face turning ash in an instant, and through gritted teeth, she said, "Ethan, you used to cater to my every whim. Were you acting all puritanical for now?" I looked at her coldly without a flicker of emotion in my heart. "Sophia, aren't you being a bit full of yourself? I was blind before, but now I'm awake. To me, you are nothing." Her face went pale in an instant. Her fingers clenched tightly on the hem of her clothes, knuckles white. "Ethan, just you wait." She shot me a vicious glare, grabbed Liam, and turned to run away. Watching her walk away, I felt no guilt. In this life, I would never let her lead me by the nose again. For the next while, I stopped paying her any attention and threw myself into my studies. She had warned me before that I wasn't allowed to score higher than her on exams. So I used to hold back my grades. Over time, she actually came to believe my grades were worse than hers. But now, to me, she was just an irrelevant person. My change was obvious to my classmates, who all assumed I was jealous of Sophia being with Liam and had been deeply hurt. My indifference towards Sophia made her seriously question her own charm. She was very unaccustomed to it. After liking someone for so many years, why stop halfway? How about you give up halfway? Lately, she's been hanging around me more often, trying to make her presence felt. We're going singing tonight. Are you coming? They used to ask me to join them when they went singing at night too, but it was only an opportunity for them to have me pick up the bill, and I enjoyed it all the same. I shook my head to indicate I wasn't going and stopped paying attention to her. Returning to my seat, Sophia and a few of her close friends, for example, Emma Clark and Olivia Miller, whispered over, "Ethan really is pathetic. Since he started going out with Liam, he never goes out to play anymore. Just sits there pretending to study every day. Actually, I think Ethan is pretty good. His family has money. He's handsome. It's just his grades that are a bit poor," Sophia scoffed. "No matter how good he is, can he be better than my Liam?" These days, she and Liam were practically inseparable at school, even openly cuddling and hugging in class without any shame. Students found young love novel and exciting. Sophia and Liam's boldness at school made them a hot topic of gossip among classmates. When they talked about Sophia and Liam, they never forgot to bring me up, saying, "I've been chasing school beauty Sophia for so long, licking her boots loyally, and in the end, she ended up with Liam." As the old saying goes, bootlickers really don't have a good ending. I heard this often, but I didn't take it to heart. Mr. Brown, the math teacher, and also our homeroom teacher, asked me to participate in the math Olympiad, and this time I agreed. My score-sabotaging habit naturally couldn't be hidden from Mr. Brown. In every math test, I always left the last two big problems blank, while every other question was, without exception, completely correct. Because of this, Mr. Brown often talked to me, but I kept doing things my way, only promising him that I would give my all in the college entrance exam. He had no choice but to let me be. After a while, during PE class, Mr. Brown called me to the office and told me I had gotten first place in the math Olympiad. Math had always been my strong suit, so taking first when I actually tried wasn't much of a surprise, but I was still very happy. Mr. Brown said he was telling me in advance. He would come to the class later to announce it. He also gave me an envelope containing $8,000 in cash, saying it was the prize for first place in the Olympiad. Mr. Brown talked to me a lot, telling me to give my all for the college entrance exam and stop thinking about silly early romance stuff. It seems Mr. Brown did quite a bit of investigating into my matters. By the time I left the office, PE was already over. Back in the classroom, the atmosphere felt strange. Everyone was staring at me, especially Sophia and Liam. Their looks were off. I paid them no mind and walked straight to my seat. But Sophia stopped me. "Did you take it?" I looked at her in confusion. "What do you mean I took?" Sophia said sternly. "The class funds that were with Liam are missing." A flash of anger passed through my eyes. "The funds he was keeping are missing. If you don't go to him, why are you coming to me?" Previously, the class funds had always been kept by class president Mike Thompson, but he had lost them once, and the classmates didn't trust him much. Instead, the poor student Liam had better relationships with everyone and seemed honest and meek, so he was asked to keep them. Sophia snorted coldly. "Ethan, don't play dumb with me. You were the only one not in gym class. If it wasn't you, then who is it?" Liam stepped forward and gave Sophia a tug. "Sophia, this could be a misunderstanding. Ethan's family is so wealthy. They wouldn't be after such a small class fund, would they?" Sophia's tone was mocking. "Ethan's family isn't short of money, and he wouldn't care about such a small class fund." But I know exactly what he meant. There was implication in her words, and everyone immediately saw the light. Looks like Ethan is really obsessed, getting jealous, and even using the class fund as an excuse. Ethan must have disliked Liam for a long time to do something like this. So that period when Ethan seemed focused on his studies was all an act. Unbelievable. He'd stoop to something like this just to make Liam miserable. What kind of person is he? I listened to these remarks, frowning tightly. Sophia persisted. "Ethan, hand over the class funds voluntarily. We can forgive you this time as classmates. Otherwise, we'll have to call the police." I looked at them mockingly and said coldly, "Then call the police." Hearing the threat to call the police, Liam's face immediately turned ugly. Forget it, Sophia. Maybe Ethan really didn't take it. Maybe I accidentally put it somewhere and forgot. We're all classmates. I don't want to make this ugly. Although Liam said he wasn't accusing me, his words clearly pointed at me and at the same time made him out to be magnanimous. I no longer hesitated, took out my phone, and prepared to call the police. Seeing this, Liam completely panicked. He lunged forward to snatch my phone. I was quick and turned to evade him, but he lost his balance and hit his head on the corner of the desk. With a thud, his forehead immediately swelled and turned red. Sophia was heartbroken and hurried to pull him. Liam clutched his injured forehead and cried out anxiously, "Sophia, please don't blame Ethan. It was because I didn't stand firm that I hit my head. I'm fine, just a bit dizzy. It was all my fault." Sophia's expression instantly turned cold. She glared at me. "Ethan, apologize." I looked at her as if she were an idiot. "Sophia, are you blind?" Liam came up to grab my phone. He lost his footing and bumped into the table. "Why should I apologize?" Sophia had just been publicly called out by me, and remembering the last time at the police station when I hit her, the anger inside her could no longer be contained. She raised her hand to slap me. I know Sophia's temper like the back of my hand. So I dodged the moment she struck, but her slap landed on the pocket over my chest, and the envelope stuffed with cash fell to the floor. A classmate I don't get along with, Tom Harris, was quick-eyed and grabbed it, pulling out the wads of cash to show everyone the class fund is here. So it really was Ethan who stole it. Liam was stunned. Sophia's face was full of fury. She grabbed the envelope of cash with one hand and with the other pointed at me and said, "How can you still lie now? You even dare to say you didn't steal the class fund." The other classmates immediately exploded. "So, it really was Ethan who stole it, huh?" I didn't expect Ethan to be that kind of person. Ethan's family isn't short of money. Could it be he's so in love with Sophia he's gone mad? He was just saying he'd call the police. If an officer actually showed up, that amount would be enough for a criminal charge, you know? I, however, remained calm and said lightly, "Sophia, take a good look. Was this really the class fund?" Sophia sneered at me. "Ethan, who would carry that much cash on them for no reason? Are you the idiot or am I? At this point, do you think denying it will still work?" I shouted, "Of course you're the idiot. Look carefully at what is written on the envelope." Sophia was furious, and just as she was about to speak again, a classmate behind her had already loudly read it out. "First prize in the Math Olympiad, Ethan Johnson." Sophia froze, then burst into laughter. "Ethan, huh? You think you deserve it? You useless person who always ranks behind me on every test. You're going to take first in the Olympiad. Ethan, not only did you steal the class fund, but you also made up such an absurd story to cover your actions. I'm really disappointed in you." After Sophia finished speaking, many classmates looked at me with even more contempt. When the commotion started, Class President Mike had already run to find Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown hurried over and vouched for me, and in front of the whole class announced that I had taken first place in a math Olympiad. The whole class froze instantly. This? How could it be? But Sophia snapped back to her senses and still protested angrily. If Ethan didn't steal the class fund, then who did? Who would be so heartless as to make things hard for Liam? Mr. Brown looked at Liam, his disappointment unmistakable. "What on earth is going on? You tell us. Or should we wait for the police to investigate?" Liam's expression was volatile. He couldn't hold out and eventually told the truth. It turned out Liam had already spent the class fund. All those times Sophia went out singing and having fun, Liam had quietly paid the bills. But he had no money himself and had to cover the cost with the class fund. He looked at Sophia, tears dripping down. "Sophia, you used to go out and Ethan always paid. I don't want to be outdone by Ethan. I'm really sorry. It's all my fault." Sophia turned pale the moment she heard Liam's words. The truth came out, and those classmates who had just accused me were now wide-mouthed and speechless. Everyone's gaze focused on Liam and Sophia, showing strange expressions. Some classmates who disliked the two of them whispered, "They go out every day showing off their relationship. How could they be spending our money? They were just slandering Ethan a moment ago. What hypocrites." Exactly. I even saw them checking into a hotel last time. Could I have been paid with our money, too? Disgusting. Sophia, I really know I was wrong. I won't do it again. Liam's voice grew lower and lower, sounding pitiful. Sophia was very taken with that line. She softened for a moment, then took Liam's hand and soothed him. Liam, you don't have to compare yourself to him anymore. In my heart, you'll always be the best. No one can beat you. After she finished, she said loudly to the whole class, I'll pay the class fund back in the next couple of days, so don't make things difficult for Liam. He was just momentarily confused. When Liam heard this, his face instantly cleared from dark to bright. Seeing that Sophia had already stepped up to take responsibility, no one said anything more. It seemed the matter was over, but not a single person had considered how I felt. Sophia apologized to me. My cold voice rang between Liam and Sophia. Sophia looked up at me, frowning slightly with an unwilling expression. Liam, however, beat her to it and slapped his own face. He hit hard. Half his face was visibly red and swollen. Sorry, Ethan. It's my fault for not handling things well and causing everyone to misunderstand. It's all my fault. That slap made Sophia agonize for him. She glared at me with hatred in her eyes. Are you satisfied now? I laughed, satisfied. Very satisfied. Ethan, you've changed. You weren't like this before. Really? But I think this is who I truly am. She froze for a moment, a light in her eyes slowly dimming. I didn't look at her anymore. I turned and went back to my seat. My change made me more popular. After the mock exam, I ranked first in the whole school. The way those classmates looked at me was different from the disdain before. There was more appreciation, especially from some pretty girls like Emma Clark and Olivia Miller, who would secretly glance at me with lovely eyes. For the first time, I even received a few love letters. But with the college entrance exam coming up, I put all my attention on studying, though I politely thanked them. During evening study sessions, some bold girls like Emma would switch seats to sit beside me, blushing as they asked me to help solve difficult problems. I didn't refuse. I patiently explained each one to them. I suddenly realized this is how youth should be. We play, we have crushes, we like beautiful things, and none of that is wrong, but academics are what we should truly put first. Before, I had focused all my attention on Sophia and lost myself because of it. After evening study ended, I was putting away my school supplies when Sophia walked up to me with a sullen face, her expression full of displeasure. Do you like talking to those girls that much? You never used to be like this. I ignored her. She went on. From now on, you must not talk to other girls. They approach you for a reason. Don't be such an idiot and let them toy with you. I finished packing and turned to leave, too lazy to even look at her. She frowned, grabbed me, and for some reason angry, said, Ethan, I'm talking to you. Are you listening? I paused, then said, whether I listen to someone talking has nothing to do with you. She reached up and tugged at the hem of my shirt. Her voice edged with grievance, soft and weak. Ethan, how can you say that? We weren't like this before. I gently shook off her hand, my tone calm but firm. The past is the past, and now is now. Sophia, we're not what we used to be, and you don't need to boss me around anymore. Her eyes instantly reddened, her lips trembling slightly, as if she wanted to say something but couldn't. She stood there looking at me with a complicated expression, as if meeting me for the first time. I turned my back to her and said calmly, If you don't have anything else, I'll be going. She suddenly raised her voice, a hint of urgency and irritation in her tone. Ethan, has our relationship really come to this? I scoffed. Do you think so? We're not even friends. And don't come hanging around me for no reason from now on. After I finished speaking, I walked away. She stamped her foot, but in the end, she didn't follow. During this time, for some reason, Sophia had been cold toward Liam a lot. The next day, when I came to class, I noticed Liam's gaze toward me had taken on something more suggestive. After class, he walked over to me holding a cup of hot water. Ethan, I really went too far last time. I've come to apologize. He handed me the hot water. I narrowed my eyes and looked at him. Before I could move, he suddenly let go. The cup of hot water smashed into the corner of my desk. Scalding water splashed everywhere. The cup was knocked to the floor and shattered with a crash. Immediately after, Liam's low exclamation rang out, and many classmates turned their heads to look this way. The classroom fell silent in an instant. The atmosphere was uncanny. Liam pressed his slightly swollen hand, staring incredulously at the shattered glass on the floor, his voice a little agitated. "I was only trying to apologize to you, Ethan, about what happened a while back." He looked at the broken cup on the floor, his face full of grievance. "I know you don't like me. Just take it that I didn't hold it steady. I shouldn't have come over. It's all my fault." But the more Liam explained, the more everyone else looked at me with strange expressions. The meaning behind those looks I knew all too well. From the moment Liam walked over with the cup, I'd long since figured out what he was thinking, still resorting to such shabby tactics. He really hasn't improved at all. I looked at him with contempt, suddenly grabbed his clothes, and headed for the door. "Can you be original? I never even touched the cup. You're really good at pretending. If you think so much of it, go with me to Mr. Brown to check the surveillance." Liam froze for a moment, his face going pale in an instant. He refused to go, so I had no choice but to drag him along. Just as we reached the door, Sophia came out and blocked my way. "Forget it. Liam didn't say you did it on purpose, so that's close enough." I scowled and looked down into Sophia's delicate eyes. They were full of impatience. "You two need to have limits on this jealousy and competition. Stop causing a scene." I was furious and shoved Sophia. "Sophia, who the hell do you think you are? You think I'm jealous over you? Look at yourself. Do you deserve it? A pair of sleazy lovers? Don't you dare come to me every few days looking for attention." Liam took the chance to struggle desperately, trying to break free of my grip. I slapped him across the face. The sharp smack echoed. I grabbed his collar and warned him viciously. "Don't you ever dance like that in front of me again. If there's a next time, I won't let you off so easily." The classroom fell utterly silent. Everyone was stunned by this sudden confrontation. But earlier, Liam had stubbornly refused to go to the office to check the surveillance, and everyone had noticed that guilty behavior. Now their looks toward Liam had no sympathy, only disdain. Liam covered his face, his eyes full of shock and fear. He apparently hadn't expected me to act immediately. Sophia was stunned, too. She stood to the side, pale, her lips trembling. She opened her mouth, but when met with my furious, piercing gaze, she unconsciously swallowed her words. I gave him a cold glance, released Liam's collar, and turned back to my seat. The classroom remained eerily quiet. Liam wiped his tears and ran out. Sophia shot me a venomous glare before quickly following him. The two ran to the track field behind the building, and from a distance, everyone saw Sophia forcibly hold Liam and kiss him. Our classmates immediately shouted loudly. By high school, young romances were actually very common, but it was rare to see people so unabashed as they were. To Liam and Sophia, their classmates' shouting seemed like envy, but in reality, their words were full of contempt. Sophia must be blind. How could she like a loser like Liam? I always thought Sophia and Liam were just playing around. After all, Ethan is so handsome, rich, and gets good grades. No matter how you choose, it would never be Liam. Exactly. That Liam only buries his head in books. He studies hard, but can only hover around the top 100 in the grade. Top 100. If he keeps going on like this with Sophia, whether he can even get into college is questionable. Actually, they've been in a cold war lately. Sophia has been making it up to Liam for days. Supposedly, it's because of Ethan. Sophia said a bunch of sweet things to cheer him up and even gave him a lot of gifts. His gaze swept the classroom and finally fixed on me. "Who is Ethan Johnson? Get out here." His voice was like thunder, making the whole classroom seem to tremble. I stood up slowly, looked at him calmly, and said in a steady tone, "I am Ethan Johnson." Mr. Taylor took a few steps and lunged in front of me, grabbing my collar with one hand, his eyes full of rage. "You beast! What did you do to my daughter? She had an ectopic pregnancy, hemorrhaged, and had her uterus removed. It's all because of you. You deserve to die." The news was explosive. The whole room erupted in an uproar. I didn't struggle. I just looked at him calmly and quickly said, "Mr. Taylor, I think you have the wrong person. Sophia's situation has nothing to do with me." The person you should be looking for is Liam Davis. Mr. Taylor's face grew even more ferocious, and he tightened his grip a few degrees. You still dare to deny it? Sophia told me with her own mouth that you heard her. You are nothing but an animal, he said as he spoke, pulling hard on me, trying to drag me out of the classroom. The room was noisy. Classmates began whispering, and their gazes flicked back and forth between me and Mr. Taylor. I strained to pry his hand away, my voice clear and strong. Mr. Taylor, if you don't believe me, you can ask the class. Sophia and Liam are the ones in a relationship. The whole class can vouch for that. Mr. Taylor paused, and the force with which he was pulling me eased considerably. I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. His eyes swept the rest of the class. A few students hesitated, then nodded and murmured, "Yes, Sophia and Liam are indeed together." Liam went pale in an instant. He sprang to his feet, his voice trembling. "Ethan, you don't spew lies. You were the one who forced Sophia and got her pregnant. You bastard." I sneered and stared straight at Liam. "Liam, you still want to deny it at this point?" That day on the backfield, I heard your conversation with Sophia loud and clear. Liam's face grew even more sullen, a trace of panic in his voice. "You here lying?" "I never." I ignored him, took my phone out of my pocket, and quickly connected it to the classroom projector. The screen immediately showed the footage from that day on the backfield, and Sophia's voice came through clearly. "Liam, what am I going to do? I'm pregnant with your child. If my dad finds out, he'll kill me." "What did you say? Pregnant? Didn't you take the pill last time?" "I really am pregnant. The doctor has confirmed it." "What are we going to do?" The classroom fell deadly silent, everyone's eyes fixed on the screen. Liam's face went as pale as paper in an instant, his body trembling uncontrollably as if he might collapse at any moment. Mr. Taylor's expression shifted from anger to shock, and finally to outright fury. He released my collar, spun around, and grabbed Liam, his voice full of murderous intent. "So it was you, you bastard. You ruined my daughter and still dare to frame someone else." Liam's body trembled violently, his voice shaking. "Mr. Taylor, listen to my explanation. I didn't do it on purpose." Taylor didn't listen to his explanation at all. He dragged him toward the exit. Liam struggled desperately, his voice laced with fear. "Mr. Taylor, calm down. I really didn't do it on purpose." Mr. Taylor was extremely strong, hauling Liam toward the classroom door. The students in the classroom were stunned by the scene. No one dared to step forward to stop him. Just then, the school security guards and teachers arrived and blocked the classroom door. It seemed that my earlier confrontation with Mr. Taylor had bought time. Whereas in my previous life, I was terror-stricken and couldn't even manage a coherent defense. Before the teachers and guard arrived, Mr. Taylor had already dragged me up to the rooftop. Mr. Taylor saw the way to the rooftop blocked, and his face became even more ferocious. He suddenly let out a roar, rushed to the window, grabbed Liam, and hurled him out of the window. "Ah!" Liam's screams echoed in the air, followed by a dull thud. The whole classroom fell into dead silence. Everyone was stunned by the scene, and no one dared believe what had happened. Mr. Taylor stood by the window, his hands trembling, eyes full of madness and despair. The security guards and teachers rushed over and restrained him. He offered no resistance, only staring blankly out the window, murmuring, "Sophia, my Sophia." The police arrived quickly and took Mr. Taylor away. The classroom was in chaos, and the students were all talking about what had just happened. Some were terrified, some felt regret, and some were silent. I stood in the center of the classroom, but there was not a ripple in my heart. In this life, I had finally avoided repeating the same mistakes and completely freed myself from Sophia and Liam's entanglement. Later, I heard that Sophia had a ruptured ectopic pregnancy and had her uterus removed. I also heard the tragic news about Liam and Mr. Taylor, and she became delirious and could never return to normal. Liam's death became a shadow the school could never erase. But these things no longer had anything to do with me. After the college entrance exams, I was admitted to Harvard University as the top scorer in the entire city and began a new life. The past disgrace, pain, struggle, and hatred gradually faded with time. Youth is perhaps like this. We grow through mistakes, mature through pain, and eventually, under the baptism of time, find our own direction. As for me, I finally emerged from that gloom and welcomed my own bright future.